All right. Hit the video. Let's go. All right, Dennis.
All right. We got anybody on yet? Watching?
Not quite yet. Usually takes about 45 seconds to a minute for people to jump on. So until then, why don't you sing us a song, Dennis?
I'm playing Mean Armpit.
This is the perfect time to share the link if we want. So that's what I'm going to do.
I'm not touching my phone. Last time I got kicked out when I did that, so we'll leave that alone.
I was wondering what happened to you.
Yeah, I tried to shut off my notifications and kicked me out.
All right, Dennis, we got some folks on.
Cool. Well, let's get this thing started. Everybody out there watching, welcome. Tonight we're going to be talking about some early season tactics for deer hunting. For the people that are watching at home, if you got any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section below, and we'll try to get to those tonight. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And we also have a youth hunt contest coming up. For all of you that don't know, go to the Facebook page, check it out for more details. We're also doing a little something for the Liberty hunters too. Well, first up tonight, we got Mike Poupore from Full Draw Management, LLC. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing pretty good. What you been up to? Have you been doing any prep work?
Yeah, we do a tree stand safety check, and we go through and just make sure we're dialed in and ready for the season. Check our straps, check our ladders, just make sure we have a safe hunt and nobody gets hurt, and a little early season scouting, make sure we're ready to go.
Well, if you'd like to tell the folks at home a little bit about yourself and what you do.
All right, so I own Full Draw Land Management, and we do a consultation service where I'll come out to your hunting property. We do a little preseason scouting for you, set you up, just make sure we got stands sitting where they're supposed to be. Make sure you're hunting it in the right spots at the right time, and we put food plots in for people as well. We did 37 acres of food plots last year. I've done about 40 so far this year. So yeah, it's really starting to take off, and I love it. It's a passion of mine. I've been bow hunting since I was 14 years old, and I'm going to be 50 here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's great to hear, man. Well, how long have you been doing the land management thing now?
About a year and a half now. I'm going on my second year. Yeah.
Well, tell people at home how they can find you.
You go on my Facebook page. It's Full Draw Land Management, LLC. I'm stationed out of Manchester, Michigan. So I service pretty much all the way from Leslie over to, the Belleville area, and then down to Monroe, and then anywhere in between. We've got clients from Jackson County, a lot of Livingston County, Washtenaw County is a big one. Get a lot of property out there that we do as well.
Yeah, I know it's a dumb question, but over at your place, you seeing any good ones this year?
Yeah, we got a couple of them running around. Our spots really don't turn on until about the second week of October, but we got a couple of good ones we got our eye on.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I know you've been taking some good ones the last couple of years.
Yeah, we do what we can.
And we're going to go over to Robert Barrick from Grand Traverse County. How you doing today?
Not too bad.
Did you finish up all your prep work?
Yeah, but no, I'm getting there. I got a little bit to go yet, but I'll be ready.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm running behind myself. Yeah, we also have Brad Atwood from Wild Game Pursuit. How you doing today, Brad?
Good. Doing good. A little bit hot today, but, I'd rather see it get a little bit cooler again. I was enjoying those, 60-degree days and waking up with it 40 degrees in the morning compared to 88 as a high today. So, but yeah, other than that, just, like everybody else, getting ready for season a couple weeks out and ready to get back in the stand and have the bow in the hand. So,
Yeah, I can't wait to get out there myself. How you doing, Ray, up there? Was that mid-Michigan?
You're muted.
Ray, you're on mute.
I think you're muted, bud.
I did that, so I wasn't good. I'm glad you couldn't hear the background noise like my videos. No, doing good. Obviously, y'all seen. I've been doing a lot of road scouting and a little bit in the woods. Unfortunate circumstance. Somebody wanted to rip off one of my tree stands already, but that's tis the deal on public land. But that's just kind of a dummy stand, anyways. They have no clue. So, me being mobile, I just do that to try to deter people. But it took a lot of effort for them to go get it because I didn't even have any way to get up to it. They went up and got it and cut it all out of it was funny. I just kind of laughed like, okay, whatever. But I've seen some decent deer, kind of like the ones behind me. Yeah, I'm ready. Ready to get her done, man.
Yeah, I feel you there. Yeah, sorry to hear about your stand. You said it was a dummy stand and some dummy took it.
Yeah, facts.
This ain't right. Yeah, well, hey, Tim, what's the county that you live in?
Sheboygan.
Sheboygan County, okay. Yeah.
Deer Camp County.
Sheboygan.
Yeah, I know you were
What's
up
that?
in the northern lower. Have you been seeing any other good ones? I noticed on Facebook you posted at least one or two nice bucks. Have they been showing back up?
Yeah, actually got a pick. So I have an 8, 9, and a 10 that are all on my, on my watch list. The 8-point was just out there last night about 8:24 out back. So, yeah, I got a few good ones hanging around. Hopefully they hang around, about 3-4 more weeks.
Yeah. You getting them on any daytime picks of them?
Yeah. Most picks are daytime right now. We'll see if that changes. I do notice that seems like they're starting to split up just a little bit. But yeah, mostly daytime picks for me, so that's good. That's on private land. I don't have any cameras out on the public land.
Yeah, I was just curious. I know everybody's shooting leading up to the season. I'll go with you first, Mike. How many arrows do you think you're shooting a day?
Well, I work late Mondays and Thursdays, so it gets dark by the time I'm off. So I would say I'm shooting probably 300 to 400 a week right now. I do. I would say I do probably 60 or 70 a day, 4 or 5 days a week, and then on Saturdays or Sundays I'm really hitting the targets. I got a nice range in my backyard that I'm able to spend a little time in. So.
What about you, Tim? How many do you
How
think
about
you're
you?
shooting?
Not enough. I'm busy editing videos and doing Facebook Lives and that stuff. I've been shooting about a dozen arrows every night, so whatever that equates to. Not 300 to 400. Whew. No, I'm not at that level.
Yeah, I'm just curious. What kind of broadheads you guys are shooting? Are you guys shooting mechanicals or are you shooting a fix? What about you, Robert?
I've been shooting fixed the last couple of years using muzzies. I've had pretty good luck with them, but I seriously think I'm going to switch to the expandable Rex this year.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of their posts and what they've been putting out, and I kind of like what I'm seeing. So,
yeah, they wreak a lot of trauma from what I've seen, and they're built pretty tough.
mm-hmm.
What are you shooting over there, Brad?
I'm just shooting your basic rage broadheads. So I've never had a problem with them, and still rage hypodermics or whatever, basically the 2-blade rages. So.
What about you, Ray? What are you shooting? Nice.
You like them. You like working with those. That's what I'm going with.
I like them. I do. I do like them. I like how they're built. I like that they're Michigan made. For me, the hard part for me is that tiny little ring, man. I can't get them closed for nothing.
This is the other one. This is for my traditional. This is for traditional.
Wow.
It's a Havoc broadhead, double beveled. I'm going with these on my traditional. So traditional, you don't use expandables, but I'm anxious about these. They're not a real big, huge broadhead, but I've shot them. They're looking pretty good. So those in rec.
What are you shooting, Mike?
I like the Grizzly stick. It's a traditional cut on contact. It's a single bevel. I've had pretty good luck with that. I haven't lost a deer in, I don't know, 9 years using those.
Nice.
Not that there's one that's better than another, but I just seem to have better luck with those than anything else I've used.
Right. What are you shooting over there, Tim?
I'm going with hey Ray, hold up your package again.
Shooting the Rex too, right?
Yeah, I'm shooting those. Yep, the HXPs. That's our new broadhead, 2 and a 1/4 inch cut, and then on impact they can leave a 2.5 inch hole. So I'm excited to try those out. Had really good luck with the XPs, so we'll see what these things can do this fall, hopefully.
Yeah, I know.
Very stoked.
What's that, Ray?
I'm very stoked because those are like the. Not trying to compare them, but I was a Rage guy for a long time, and Rage Tripans, they would put a hole in it wide open. So this is going to be exciting. I can't wait to lay one open with one of them.
Yeah, well, we got 19 days.
Yep.
Something like that. 19 days till season opener.
And more like 29 for me.
Why?
I ain't hunting opening day if it's too hot.
Wow. Yeah, just quick question. I know a lot of you guys, some of you hunt state land and some of you hunt private. But I was just curious to find out what you're looking for when you go out to pick a spot to hunt. And what do you think are some of the keys to your success and what works for you? What about you, Brad?
Well, since we're talking early season tactics, the main thing early season is the food source. You know, you got to find out what they're eating. I mean, you got, like I say, you got your rut spots and then you got your early season spots. So early season tactic, it's basically just finding that summer food source, you know, coming into that early fall, whether it be apples, if you're, like, say, on private or up against private, maybe, you know, cornfields, whether it be acorns, you know, dropping. And then, again, it's that freshest sign, you know, because, again, deer move and figure out different spots based on the food source at that time of the year. So you're going to get some deer that, especially acorns, you know, you're going to get, they might be on one ridge for 3-4 days, and then the next ridge over starts dropping heavy acorns, and they pop over to that next ridge over. So you just got to figure out where the fresh sign's at and where the deer are at, you know, and you got to get on top of them. You can't sit there and, you know, go out and say, well, this is a spot I hunt every year, and sit there for 2 weeks, and you basically just wasted 2 weeks if you're not on them. You know, you got to go to the deer. You got to go find where they're at, what they're eating, and make that move. Because, like I say, I just watch way too many people have that stand or that blind that it's so easy and comfortable for them to go to and sit in, and it's, you know, it's a little less work, and they know it. They know that spot, and they're not willing to change and get out of their own comfort zone and go find that fresh sign, that new area. And they, in my opinion, like I say, I mean, I'm not saying again that you can't shoot the big buck right there too in your comfortable spot, but if you go find that fresh food source and where the deer are moving, because, you know, that's where they're at. These bucks are still in bachelor groups. You know, they haven't broken off yet real into their own areas. Mock scrapes do work this time of year. I seen your video the other day, Dennis, and I completely agree. I do the same exact thing. That's basically what all my trail cameras are on right now, is mock scrapes. Something just to get their attention and to get pictures of them on camera. And I've got a couple cameras out right now on mock scrapes, and multiple bucks already coming in checking them out. You know, whether it be they might not even be actually tearing up the scrape, but like you said, it gives you that inventory where they come in and they smell it, and, you know, they'll come in and check it already. You know, it's kind of that little community mock scrape where they'll come in and check, and it just gets pictures and gives you a little inventory. So
Yeah, I love using them myself. I put multiples out there, to be honest with you. But what about you, Tim? What do you usually look for when you're looking for your spot, and what's some of the keys to your success, you think?
So basically, what Brad said, that food source, if you can find the bedding in that transition area between bedding and food. But early season, my best bet is I'm going to try to find those acorns that are dropping, and I'm going to, look for the deer sign. And if they're in there eating those acorns, that's where I'm going to set up. So, pretty much exactly what Brad said.
What are some of your favorite food sources that you like to hunt over? What about you, Mike?
I'm going to piggyback off these guys. Acorns are king. If you can find the acorns, white acorns specifically, it seems like from the white oaks, it seems like that's hot. I've noticed that deer have a preference. They're going to eat them all, right? But they're going to have a preference. If you have a white oak with, you can find those by looking for the leaves, and they're lobed. They're rounded and lobed instead of pointy. You can find that oak tree. You're going to find acorns. You can find acorns. You're going to find your deer. 9 times out of 10. That's a hot one for me. Apples are hot too. If you can find an old crabapple tree somewhere, as long as it's dropping, I'd take that over a food plot sometimes. So those are my things. And when you messaged me, you said put a list together. I came up with a few things I thought were important, but it seems like my list of things to talk about were more what not to do than what to do. I think Brad said it best. I think it was Brad. He said, I'm not going out opening day if it's 80 degrees. I'm not going to burn out a good spot just so I can say I hunted. So, I like a cold front. You get me an 80-degree day and a 40-degree day or a 50-degree day following the next couple of days. I'm hunting that cold front coming through every time. I'll call in off of work. Don't tell my boss, but I'll miss a day of work if there's a cold front coming through, and I'm sure he'd understand.
And you didn't tell him you were on live tonight, did you?
Oh yeah, sure did.
Well, he knows now.
Yeah. I learned a lot from that guy over the years, but I think cold fronts are king. I do an inside or an outside in approach where I'm not gonna hit my best rut stands. I'm not hunting a thicket or a bedding area right now. I'm gonna be 100 yards off of a food source. A food plot or something, easy in, easy out. I hate burning things out before things get real hot. I'm not going to pound my best spots October 1st to the 10th. I'll save those till after about October 20th, and then Halloween things really start to heat up at my place anyway. So I think that's big. Water holes. I think water holes are crucial too right now, especially with the drought that we've had. You can find a water source. You're gonna have a deer stop by, a couple times a day.
Mm-hmm. Any of you other guys hunt over
I think
water
that's
sources?
huge too.
Any of you other guys like to hunt over the water sources, or have you? Any luck?
So when I went out a few days ago and my tree stand, I found that down. I was like, they didn't get my trail camera. It was 100 yards from that. But it's funny because, like Mike was saying, if you can find water, you're going to, with this drought, it's very crucial because there's creeks and little tributaries and this and that, and I'm not used to this, but when I walk out in the woods, it's usually water. And right now, there's not a lot of water, but where there were spots of water, where do you think I hung my trail camera?
Right.
I put it above a water source because then there's a major trail because they stopped there, like you were saying. So that's going to be something I'm definitely going to key on this year, unless we have monsoons. We usually get a fall monsoon, but it is dry in my area. So I don't think I've ever seen it so dry. I mean, some of these creeks you can't get across. Now I can walk right through them. But so that is one key for me. Acorns are another one. And where I hunt, you got a lot of farm fields and crops, but I'm still going to focus on pinches, funnels, because they're going to and from those spots. That just seems to be the key. Early season, They're still coming off their, they're still coming off their summer patterns. And I got a good idea in the first couple hunts, some exciting stuff should happen. We'll see.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up calling, like rattling or anything like that. What do you guys think of doing that early? Everybody?
I'll go off on that. All right. Well, right here.
What the heck, Ray? I thought you always kept it in your pocket.
I normally do, but I personally am a firm believer in calling all season long. I know some of you don't, but deer are curious. Okay, in my mind, deer are curious. They're curiosity. What kills the cat? Well, it almost sounds like a duck. I'm telling you. Maybe not monsters early season, but I feel like if I'm making that a doe grunt or a bleed or a small buck, let's say, like the one right there, right up over here, wherever. That was one of my first bucks I ever killed, the small one. But I need to be in the woods communicating with the deer. I will not rattle deer early season because I think that's way too aggressive. Or do real deep guttural grunts, like, get her right out there, bah, no, I'm not doing that. Just soft, little sounds, subtle sounds. You got to be on the lookout because they're looking, but it's worked for me. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of breaking out the horns early myself, but I've seen people do it. I just, myself, I don't like to give away my position at all. I don't do any calling really myself at all till about the 26th. But what about you, Brad? Do you do any early calling or anything like that?
Yeah, like I say, I know I'm the opposite of Ray. I personally don't do much, but like I say, I will do contact grunts. That's about it.
Yeah.
I'm not really doing many doe bleeds or nothing like that, until maybe around Halloween-ish, when some of the does are starting to come into heat. But I will do some contact grunts, and don't get me wrong, I always definitely have the grunt call with me just in case. There's a buck just out of range. You can dang well bet I'm going to try to get him to come to me if he's not working towards me. I'll definitely give it a try, and you never know. So, but yeah, just those little contact grunts, just bark, that's it. That's all you need to do. Like I say, nothing crazy. And if it gets their attention and works, hey, it works. So always willing to try. So
what about you, Robert? What do you like to do early season? You do any calling or you stay quiet?
Nope, I stay quiet. There's way too many hunters in my area, and I let them make all the noise, and I sit back. I do a lot like Brad, though. I'm finding trails where they're moving, and I'm constantly moving with them. It's like he said, they'll be on one ridge for 2-3 days, and then they're off. And you got to move with them. And it's like a lot of you guys have said. I really think that's where a lot of people hurt themselves early season is they sit that same tree, that same spot, day after day after day. The deer figure you out. That's it. It's game over.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're going to get later in the season where things are going to start moving, and obviously the bucks get dumb and start doing wild things. But I think a lot of people, especially when it comes to public land, they burn their spots out long before the deer are even there.
And myself, it took me a long time to learn that. Don't overhunt your spots. Nowadays, I got so many spots. I don't hunt them, but just a handful of times. Each one usually.
Yep.
But what about you, Mike? You do any early calling?
I don't really. I don't want them knowing that I'm there. We've got enough deer making noise in the woods already where I'm at that I just try and keep my my position low key. And like these other guys said too, I think it's important to mention, I got 20 stands, and I don't hunt the same stand more than 2 or 3 times a season. I bounce around quite a bit because, as you guys know, if you're, deer, it's who makes the first mistake with a mature whitetail. It's either me or the deer. And by if I sit number 3 or 4, they got you figured out. So I try and just stay quiet.
What about you, Tim? You do any early season calling?
Yeah, I'm in the Ray camp. Honestly, I call all season long. It's definitely like the other guys have pointed out. You're taking a lot of risk by doing that because you're putting all the deer within earshot on alert. I think I've fine tuned it over the years. As you guys were talking, I was thinking about just deer calls in general over the years, how they just all the phases they've gone through, and I don't remember who made it, but there was a deer call that looked like a cow horn. It got real big at the end, and it was supposed to like really reach out and be really loud and all that stuff. And you don't want to do that because that's not natural. Like that is not natural to a deer. So just real soft, just contact runs, nothing aggressive. You want to be as subtle as possible. You just want to say to those other deer, like, hey, I'm over here, come check me out, or come over here, I'm on some acorns or something like that. But, I'm just like with Ray. I do contact runs throughout the whole season, but you got to be on alert. If you're off in La La Land or you're thinking about a football game the next day or the deer you saw a few days ago, I wonder where that deer is at, and you're not ready, they're going to bust you because they know they're looking for a deer in that area. And if they don't see it, they get a little spooky. So you just got to be on high alert. And if you're just going out to clear the mind, you might want to not call that day. You got to be into it, be ready to go.
Right.
I will jump in quick too and say that I do see a lot of people sometimes mess up though also that either they'll see a buck and they'll run at him and you'll see him turn his ears, he hears you. And I'll watch people that start just getting on it louder and louder and louder. If he turns his ears and he hears you grunt, that you don't need much more than that. Once he heard you, he's either going to decide whether he wants to come and not come. And my point that I was going to make with this too is a lot of times, especially those more mature bucks, they're going to continue doing what they were already doing. They're not just going to usually turn and run right into you. So I've watched a lot of videos and I've had a couple encounters myself watching guys where that buck will hear you and he'll, like I say, if he's already on a mission or doing whatever he's doing, he's going to continue doing it. But there's a good chance in an hour or two, he's going to come right back to that spot where he heard that call. So you don't have to overdo it. You don't have to just start getting on it and going at him hard. Like let him, if you see him turn his ears and he heard you, he knows where you're at. He knows he heard something there, and there's a chance that he'll come check that out, whether it be an hour or 2 hours later. He'll come back to that tree where, he heard that call from. So that happens more often than not.
You better make sure you can't get downwind of you either.
Yeah.
Yep. You got to make sure you got your downwind blockers because they will. A mature whitetail is going to circle downwind of you every time. If he can get there, he will. He wants to see what's grunting at him. Yep. And you better just make sure he can't get there, or you can shoot him before.
I think another important thing to throw in the mix is, Ray and I are mobile hunters, so we're not hunting the same stand over and over. So if you're in the situation at home where maybe you only have a couple stands, I would not go in the same stand, sit after sit, and call like Ray and I are doing. I would not advise that. If you're able to move around and hunt multiple areas and not oversaturate one area with your scent, with calling, with just anything that can put a deer on high alert, I'd advise you not to do that. So if your situation is you've only got a couple stands and you've only got a couple areas you can hunt, I would not recommend that.
Yeah. So what you just said, Tim. So I just started mobile hunting probably 4 years ago, but I used to be the guy who had, even on public land, because I hunt 4 different sections of public land, not just one, and I mean miles of differences. I had stands everywhere, fixed tree stands. But yes, you don't want to frequent them and just be blowing away calls. And you're right, they come in, a big mature buck, I've had it happen, calling, because I like to call. And guess what he did? Right around downwind to me. And he was a nice one, and I'm like, why isn't it gun season? But he just kind of went bye and he boogied. So yeah, it has pros and cons to it. But hey, look, I guess the biggest thing is a lot of it's luck, but yeah. So gotta be careful when you're calling for sure.
Yep.
By chance, Tim, you don't have that big goofy call you was just talking about, do you?
No, I didn't buy it. I don't even remember who made it. It popped in my mind for some reason. But I remember I think the point of it was you were supposed to be able to cut through the wind and reach out like 300 yards, like, whatever, anything to make a buck.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's been some gem gimmicks over the years and the decades. I got actually a room full of that crap.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a garage sale.
Yeah, I got even some of these old trail cams from back in the day that used to run on 35 millimeter film.
Yep.
Stuff's come a long way.
Yeah,
Definitely. Now you don't even have to go to the woods to check your cameras.
Yeah, I remember taking the film, and getting 1 hour developing to see a bunch of raccoons.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's been there.
Yep, 35 millimeter. Send it in.
Pay extra for the 1 hour development too, right?
Right.
Yeah, I had a bunch of old pictures from hunting at my grandma's just 25 years ago or so, and that's what they are. They're all the Kodak film. I got the whole book of them. Hey, by chance, Tim, I can't see if we got any questions or anything like that popping up. Has anybody asked anything yet?
No, nothing yet. They're just kind of chiming in with, they're letting us know what broadheads they shoot and, what they kind of focus on. Cody Sawyer, he likes to hunt bedding and trails.
Cody
No
Smith.
questions yet.
I want to give a shout out to my friend Cody Smith. I seen him earlier commenting a lot on here. He's down in Livingston County, I believe. I thought I seen it. But he's a really good friend of mine, and he's been pretty active on our page and another page. But that proud of you, Cody. You're getting her done, man. So just let you know that.
That's funny, Kevin. You say that about Brad's too young for that. I was just about to say, yeah, I didn't even know they made trail cameras that took film like that. So
hey, you got to be in the OG factor.
I was gonna say,
old guy.
I was gonna say too, it's gonna be funny when the kids nowadays they're gonna be talking like we're talking here in 20, 30 years, talking about how cell cams are a thing of the past now. They'll be onto something brand new from there, here in 20, 30 years. So they'll be like, yeah, you remember those old Tacticams that they used to have back in the day?
What are those? I don't even use them.
Yeah, I use them and they get stolen down by Ray. So.
Yeah, I know. I got homework to do for you in a couple days.
Ray's got to go to my pin and see if my camera's gone because there's a good chance of it. Because
get it up in the air.
It stopped taking pictures on Sunday. So
I bet I know that area, and I've had them stolen.
Breaks my heart and makes me angry, man. I get you won't believe the words that come out of my mouth when somebody steals my stuff.
Like I say, I don't think they took it. I'm guessing they did what they did to my other camera down by Ray and just smashed it.
Wow.
I promise it's not me.
Yeah. I got a picture of Ray right before it stopped sending pictures to
right?
But yeah, it's cable locked to the tree, and then obviously everybody knows if you steal a cell cam, it's basically worthless to you.
Yep.
So honestly, you get so many guys out on public nowadays that they see a camera that they think is in their spot on public land. Instead of just leaving it be, they decide to just smash it or break the antenna off of it or whatever they can to just try to deter you out of an area. And yeah, that just drives me crazy that, it's like there's so much area public, I get if people get mad if you set up right, 15, 20, 100 yards from their bow spot, but still it's like,
Hey, Tim,
they
just asked a question, the Custom Rod one did, about what trail cams do we like? Yep, right there.
The 30 millimeter ones.
You don't want those. 35 millimeter.
I'm a Tacticam guy myself. I've had good luck with them over the years. They're a decent camera for a really good price, and The customer service, if you got an issue, they're usually pretty quick. I'll send an email and I'll get a response within an hour as long as they're open. I got one in the shop right now, and they're pretty good about getting your camera back to you pretty quick if you have an issue. A decent camera. I mean, it's not a $500 Reconyx, but it's, they're for $100. I don't think you can beat it.
I like Moultrie.
Yeah.
I'm a Moultrie fan. I like the Moultrie cameras. And they're not cell cams. They're just go check them every once a month or two.
Right. I got a few of those too. Yeah, they're good.
What about you, Robert? What kind of trail cameras you using?
Out on public, like this time of year when I'm just pretty much scouting areas out, I use the old school wild game cheap cameras. I think I paid like $35 for them.
Yeah.
That way, if they come up missing, I'm not out that much.
Say,
But
get them
my
on.
cell cams that I run all stealth cam on my stealth cams. And I've had pretty good luck with them so far. I mean, I had one that went down, called them, told them what was going on. They actually sent me, I can't even remember what it was, but they ended up replacing the camera for nothing. And I haven't had an issue since. So, but yeah, this time of year when I'm not out almost every day, the cheapest camera possible.
Yeah. Cheapest one I found so far is at Walmart. It's made by Tasco. I got a slew of those things. No, those don't hurt so bad when they get stolen. But yeah, it ain't too bad. I think I paid $28 for it. What are you using over there, Tim?
Throughout the years, I've used probably every single camera ever made. But as far as the cell camera, I just got into Moultrie. They have can't think what the model is, but I think it's the base, Moultrie base, and I've been pretty impressed with it so far. The batteries, so I put it out 2023 August, and I'm just now getting alerts that my batteries need to be changed. So I was shocked by that because everything I've heard about cell camera, you got to change the batteries every couple of months and use the lithium, and these were like the Meyer brand AA batteries, so I was pretty happy about that because I'm a cheapskate, and I've been pretty impressed with the performance of the camera. So, but I've got that Tasco camera like you've got, Dennis, too, from Walmart, the real cheap ones, because I'm like you, if it's gonna get stolen, I don't want to be out a bunch of money, and those do okay. I think one thing to talk about when you're using trail cameras is the placement of the trail camera in the tree, and that'd be interesting to hear everybody too. But I used to put it right at their chest level. Now I've moved it up where it's above my head and I have it angled down. Do you guys notice a difference? Do you guys have deer looking at your cameras? Where do you place your cameras?
I guess I'll go first. If you guys are cool with that. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, I like to hang them 6-8 feet high at least. And if I can't do that for some reason because of topography, I'll at least brush them in. I'll take some branches and stick them on the sides just to make sure that they're hidden. And I also try and hide them in a tree that's at least thicker than the camera at a minimum. But I think the best way to go is hanging them as high as you can. I've noticed, I've had a deer, a nice 11 point last year, come in. He either heard it click or he saw it, something. He scared him right out of his pants. He ran. We ended up getting him later in the year, but he was gone for a couple of weeks, and I would attribute it to that camera.
Was it a real 11 point or a Michigan 11 point?
No, man, it was a dandy. I'll show you a picture of it. He was a nice guy, he was nice. Definitely probably 140-inch 11 point, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, I noticed now that everybody's using trail cameras in the woods that they are getting pretty wise to them. So it does make sense to put them up. I've noticed that too. I get some good pictures of a deer, and that's it. I don't get no more pictures of him. Not out here in suburbia. I'll see him, but he skirts my cameras.
Yep. Yeah, they're smart. That's why they're alive, right? Those big ones.
Yeah, I was wanting to ask you guys, when you do hunt, the certain properties that you do hunt, how many cameras are you guys running on each one of those properties?
I've got 20 covering over a little over 100 acres. I know it's probably overkill, but there's not much that can get by. It's probably a lot more than I need, but it seems like 20 was the number to cover a few food plots and most of the stands that we hunt, and then a few trails coming in and out. And it keeps the neighbors honest too.
So for me, public land, I could go hundreds of trail cameras, but realistically, that's not happening. So I try to keep it to core areas that I do well in every year, but I do a lot of scouting from the road, which I can see. Obviously, I take pictures of the deer. I know what's in those areas. So then I go in, hang a trail camera, and I always put them off the ground because they rip them off. But I will say I don't get the best pictures because they're angled down. You're not getting that nice 3 foot, 4 foot view out the ground. So, and I only do this probably at the end of July through about August, and I pull them because I don't need to know. I already know what's in the woods. So I'm done. Come September, let them rest. I know what I'm doing. I don't need a camera out there anymore. I don't need to know when they're coming and going. If they're in the area, I'm going to have an opportunity one time or another. But got to go off the ground where I'm at. Unfortunately, like Brad, I've got to go do some homework because I need to see if some scumbag smashed his stuff, and I'll find out. But yeah, off the ground, and I only run probably 4 cameras in 4 different areas. I mean, miles and miles apart. So that's it for me. That's all I do.
What about you, Robert? How many are you running?
I think I've got 5 out right now. But up here, I mean, it's so different up here compared to what you guys deal with down there because, I mean, our tracts of land up here are just huge. So, yep. I mean, yeah, the hunting pressure is there. You've definitely got the guys that are in the areas, but it's just we're not all crammed in one little section of woods like yep. It is downstate. So for me, it's a little bit easier, but I also go certain ways with hiding cameras. Like I'll use an old stump that's fallen apart and I'll put my camera right inside that stump. And you'd be surprised how many people will walk right past it. They'll never even know it's there. Or like you get an old blown down tree and it's all hollowed out. Put your camera inside that tree. You'd be surprised how many people you'll catch walking right on by. I mean, and it works. I mean, I've never had one come missing out of a stump or a tree before. So, but if I'm in an area where I know there's a lot of pressure, I go up high, angle them down. And like you said, Ray, you don't get the best pictures, but what are you going to do? I mean, you kind of don't have a choice.
Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention, when I hang my trail cameras, I hang them facing out of the southwest, like a southwest wind, looking into the northeast because of the way the sun comes around, because sometimes you'll get a real bad a bad picture because the sun's blasted on your camera. So I always try to put them facing like a southwest into the northeast.
Yeah.
So
what about you, Tim? How many are you running on your property over there?
On my property, I just have one. And then I'm similar to Robert and Ray. I just have one in each potential area. And then I just kind of leave them up throughout the season. Which, probably is not a good idea because if it's going to be a spot I'm going to hunt, then I'm going in and out unnecessarily getting those SD cards because I only have one cell cam. The rest are the old school. We got to go get the card. So you can get it when you go in and out hunting too. But, sometimes curiosity kills a cat. I've been in that spot in a while, and then you're walking in there and you got a lot of good deer, but you just walked in there and you got a lot of good deer. So are they going to be there when you go to hunt it? But I just run very minimal.
Yeah, I got 42 acres at the end of my street that I get to hunt, and I'm only running 4 cameras there. I've got basically all 4 corners of the property blocked in pretty much. So whatever is coming or going, I'm getting pictures of it. Once in a while, I've been known to run a fifth camera. I like to put one near my stand to kind of, because everybody where I hunt thinks it's a nature hike. So you get people walking dogs or riding bikes, or it's a pain in the butt. But if anything comes up missing, then I got that, that trail cam pick. Usually I need, now I'm thinking about it, I should probably go put that fifth camera up. But, have we got any other questions from anybody out there, Tim?
No, that's been the only one so far.
We had somebody ask about, does anybody elk hunt? Have you ever, any of you ever elk hunted in the state? I know it's off topic, but that was way back. And that'd be for you guys up north.
Nope.
I wish.
I'm trying to find the question.
I believe it was
Right
a lady.
Yeah,
There
has
you go.
anyone ever bow hunted a? Well, number one, it's just a treat if you can actually draw a tag. In
Right.
Michigan, it's pretty tough. I've been applying for 17 years and I have yet to get a tag. But I don't know. I think I would grab my rifle just because of how long it would actually take to get a tag. And if I actually got that opportunity, I want to make the best of it. But that would be sweet to smoke one with a bow.
Yeah, it would.
I just thought it was just cool to see some up there when I was up there a couple of years ago, ice fishing up around Atlanta, Michigan, and got done ice fishing in the late afternoon, evening. It was getting evening and packed up and started driving back towards home and wasn't really paying any attention. Just kind of driving. There was snow on the ground, glancing out some fields and look over to my left and just see, look like cows and stuff out there, so I just glanced forward. I'm like, wait a second, there wasn't a fence in that field. I like back up. Oh man, that's a group of elk. That's pretty sweet. So
Hey,
They're
Brad,
amazing animals.
yeah,
you weren't fishing with Lowell, were you?
I was.
LT Outdoors, I know you were.
I definitely was up there fishing with.
I knew it.
Yeah. I was up there catching some splake.
Nice. Awesome. I like that guy. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yep.
Is that in your yard?
That's my backyard.
holy.
Yeah, that's right in my backyard.
Lucky.
Here's another one. So let's see if I can get this lined up right.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
I'll
are
tell
you
you
feeding
what.
your deer? No.
Yeah. That's what happens when you let them grow.
Yeah.
No, it's
that APR is really starting to kick in.
No, I'll tell you what though, it is pretty awesome being up here in elk territory. I've seen them from my tree stand numerous times, and man, they are just—it's a sight to behold. It never gets old either. I love it. You hear them bugling and everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, my dad used to own a piece of property in Atlanta off of Haas Road, and I remember hunting back by
What's up, Natalie?
what is it? They're like oil pumps back on the 2 tracks, way back in the woods at the end of that road, and you'd see them come through there sometimes, just bugling, and it gets my heart just. There's nothing like it. I would love the opportunity to get a crack at one of those one day, but probably never gonna happen for me. Bill did an elk hunt before, didn't he?
Out west.
Yeah.
Not here in Michigan, but out west.
Colorado, I believe.
Yeah, and I think he got him. Yep.
Lucky.
Can I add something to the preseason, early season tips, if I may?
Oh, yeah, please.
Absolutely.
One of the things I'd like to add that I think is really important, I think some people overlook it, is taking out those alpha does if you have a lot of does on your property. If you're a mature buck hunter and you've got a bunch of alpha does running around, they're the first that are going to bust you. And if you can take care of a few of those, get those out of your herd early in the season, like the first week, you're going to have a better chance of killing that mature buck because she's not going to bust you. She knows where you're at by 5 or 6 probably. So take her out of the herd if you can, and I think that'll pay dividends going forward when the rut starts to kick in. If you have a lot of does.
Yeah. So good point, because I've got 2 of my cameras are showing a couple of alpha doe,
Right.
and they need to go.
Yeah.
So I will not hesitate to I'm taking them. You know,
Yep.
big doe, come out of that herd. They've already bred, you know,
Yep.
3 years or whatever. So yeah,
Yep, get them
definitely.
out of that herd. So you're gonna. I mean, I've been busted more by mature does than I have bucks.
Yes, sir.
That 6-year-old doe, 7-year-old doe knows where every stand on your property is, and she seems like they look right at you. You know, a lot of times they won't see you, but she kind of knows something's up. And they don't get dumb during the rut like those bucks do. You know, they still have their head on straight. They'll bust you every single time if you don't take them out.
Going
I just saw a comment from Cody Evernham. Clinton County, huh? Don't be stomping on my grounds, bro. No, I'm kidding, man.
Are you the
Get
one
out there, we'll hook up.
Did you take my camera, Cody?
Yeah, it might be.
Cody's got a camera for sale.
Yeah.
Hey, that might not be Clinton County.
Going off though too, what Mike said, it's a good point, especially if you own like how he's got 100 acres there of hunting too. Not only taking the alpha doe, but I know another good thing I found out, you know, and learned was, if you got a doe running around with a couple button bucks, you know, and you take out that doe, those button bucks that becomes their home turf, you know,
They
whereas
stay.
if you don't take that mature doe out, guess what she does? You know, come rut, those button bucks are pushing her. She kicks them out of the group and says, you better go find your own area to live. Well, guess what? Those 2 bucks that were going to grow up on your property and live there are now gone.
Yep.
You know? So if you take out that mature doe and those 2 button bucks grow up there, that's now their home. They, you know, that's what they grew up on. They live there and they live on your property. It's tougher to do, obviously, talking public land, but if you got a property like that where you can manage it and have 100 acres and really try to build up your property, then that definitely helps.
Yeah, great point. 100%. I agree with that. You know, that female social pressure, they try and push those button bucks out of the herd, get them off your property. You kill her, they're sticking around. 100%.
I've literally watched doe whoop on them little ones like that and go, what is she doing? She's whooping on them. And they're like, oh. It's like, no way. It's
Crazy
crazy.
old nag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Here's a question. Here's a question from Cody Smith. Morning versus evening hunts.
Go ahead, Paul.
I would say myself, I prefer to hunt the evenings. You get more action in the evenings early season. But I won't turn my nose up at a morning sit either. I like to be out there. That's my thing. As long as I'm out there, I'm happy. But I definitely see more early season in the evening time going to the food.
Yeah, I agree with that, Dennis. I feel the same way.
What's up, Teddy?
It makes more sense to get out there a couple hours before dark, sit over that food source or pretty close. Mornings are a little slow for me up until about Halloween. Then it really turns on, and then it's an absolute shift. At that point, mornings are hot. I've killed probably 8 out of my last 9 bucks have been shot in the morning, usually right around Halloween or a little bit later.
Yep. So Cody and I have messaged a few times over the years. Early season, I think evening, I'll agree with the evening thing. But come, like you say, late October, I don't think you can beat a morning hunt. I mean, there's something about mornings. But that early season, yes, they're feeding, they're coming, you know. My strategy is I'm not hunting on the food plot, or I'm hunting 100 yards in, because you got light issues sometimes too. So you're catching and coming to that stuff. You know what I mean? So yes, evenings, early season, most definitely probably going to be my best opportunity. But yeah,
I disagree. I'd say mornings personally. That's just me. I not just trying to be the guy to pick the other side.
Hey, when'd you get your buck last year? that I came help you drag out?
Afternoon. 2:30. 2:30, 3 o'clock, somewhere in there.
I'm messing with you, Brad. I like mornings too. I really do.
But personally, though, I would say early season, especially like say you get this weather like right now. Obviously, we're still a couple weeks out, but I was looking at the extended forecast, and man, it was still showing mid 80s, almost as far as I can still see going out. So personally, like I say, yeah, you get a cold front. I drove around the fields and you see a lot of deer out in the fields, you know, when those cold fronts hit this time of year. But when you drive around and it's 80 some degrees, even right at dark, you know, it's still 75 degrees out. You know, those deer, you don't see near as many out there in those fields and stuff and moving around. Whereas the morning, you know, it's a lot cooler, obviously, and you know, some of the deer are more out moving. So
I mean, I'm a morning guy. And first of all, I love to hunt mornings because if you do shoot one, you're not going into the evening in the dark trying to get the thing out of there. You know, you're getting it during the day. So, yes, but that's another little factor for me. But, yes, I hear you there, though. When it's hot like that, they don't like that. I see them, but the mornings, man, I go down the highway, go to work, and I'm like, Jay, they're all over in the field, you know? I'm like, you know, so.
I mean, although it's 88 degrees and my tax cam's already starting to go off and I'm getting pictures right now. So they're moving tonight and it was 88 today. So
What I like about the mornings is if there's deer around and you're trying to get down at night, you either got to wait for them to leave or bust them out of there. Where in the mornings, you can stick around till 11, 12 o'clock, wait for the area to clear out. And you're not educating those deer that you're there. You know, just wait them out. Where at night, you know, you can't wait out what you can't see.
Absolutely. I've sat in my tree stand well into the dark because I'm like, they won't go away.
Yep, I hear that. And then when you get down, you get them to blow at you.
Yep, absolutely.
Be an hour later, you got the wife texting you, "Are you okay?"
Yep, where are you at? Well, I had deer eating acorns underneath me, but they came in late. And now I'm sitting here going, get the heck out of here.
and then you sit there for an hour. You sit there for an hour and think that, you know, you're like, all right, they're finally gone. And you barely hit the first stick coming down and they bust out there. And you're like,
every time.
So I'm curious, Robert, do you have a preference morning or evenings, or curious to hear what you have to say?
I mean, honestly, it depends on where I'm hunting at. Like if I'm closer back towards the river, that's more of a morning spot. But if I'm up top in the flats, then it's more of an oaky area. So obviously that's going to be more of an evening set for me. Kind of just depends on how motivated I'm feeling. If I want to put in the legwork and go back by the river, then we can make a morning out of it. But evenings usually, I mean, I don't know. Temperature, like if it was today, like I honestly don't even think I'd have wasted my time even going and sitting because it's just so hot. I mean, we hit 90 here today, and they're talking close to 90 through the week. So I don't know. It varies. But like Mike was saying earlier, you know, you give me that first cold snap where it drops down, you know, 50 degrees, and I'm going to disappear for a couple of days because I'm going to be in the stand.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm waiting for the day where they make pop-up blinds with air conditioning.
I like it.
It's a $1 million idea, Dennis.
You better
Can I
pack
ask
that.
a question, guys? I had a little debate with some of my hunting buddies. When do you guys like to get in the stand in the morning? As far as the an hour before daylight, right at daylight, a half hour before. When's your time to get in early season if you're going to hunt in the morning?
My favorite, I like to be in there at least an hour before the sun comes up or starts even cracking.
Right.
Most of the reason is I'm carrying a ton of equipment, I mean, camera stuff. I got to get all that set up in the dark.
Right.
But I still like to have that extra hour to let everything settle back down around me and get quiet, ready to rock.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I can't wait to answer this. Go ahead, Robert. I see you doing that.
With me being mobile, honestly, unless I'm set up the night before, I'm going in at least an hour early. Get in, get set up, let everything calm down, watch the woods wake up. But if I'm set up and all I got to do is walk in, jump in my stand, I'd say a half hour.
Okay.
Honestly, the time of year has a lot to do with it too. Early season, yeah, I'm definitely getting in early.
Yeah.
But now you talk into the rut. I mean, shoot, you could be walking in and you got deer running past you. I mean, you just never know then.
What I like to do after Halloween is I'll get in, and this is probably a little contradictory, but I like to get in right at daybreak. We ride e-bikes to our stands. We got groomed trails. We get in, and as the geese are on the lake and they're starting to make their noise and the squirrels are running around, I can sneak in without a flashlight, get in. It only takes me about 5 minutes to get to any stand on the property. And they don't hear you because there's other stuff going on in the woods at that point. The birds are starting to chirp. The squirrels are running around. The turkeys are running around. And I can slip in and no one's the wiser. No one knows. But the second best, in my opinion, the second best time to get in is probably an hour before, just so you have time to let everything calm down a little bit.
Yep.
But that's just me. Every property is different. I'm sure there's compelling arguments for any side of where you're at on that. But my opinion is right when the sun starts to come up, you can see without a flashlight.
Yeah. So for me, public land, since I've been hunting it 34 years, I used to be the guy who was in the tree stand way before everyone else. I would sit there for an hour and 20 minutes like, why did I do this?
Yeah, right.
But it has a lot to do with certain times of the season for me as well. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, if I got my route to my stand or where I'm going to be, half hour. I mean, I'll probably do a half hour. Now, if I'm on a private property that Chad and I hunt, we go out there. It's so easy to get to our spots. It's 15 minutes, and I already have pre-hung stands, so that makes it easy. But no, these days where I go, a half hour, I'm good. But that rut time, you're right. You go out there just before, you're thinking, dang it, I'm getting out here kind of late. But no. Then you see them, they're all over the place. No, I will say, last year's deer that I shot, Brad knows. If I hadn't got there a little earlier, I may never have got that deer. So
Yeah.
it was one of those things.
Right. Yeah, I've mixed it up. I try and alternate a little bit, but I've just noticed that it seems like when I get in right at daybreak, and you feel like you're late, right?
Yeah.
You feel like, man, I got here an hour after I should have. This is way later than it needs to be. You climb up, you pull your bow up, and then all of a sudden you didn't spook anything in the area because there was other noises going on in the woods at that point. And then you're in the stand for 5 minutes instead of an hour, and your scent's not permeating the whole area at that point. Less time for you to get winded, deer going downwind of you. You get in, and I seem to have better luck doing that. But I guess there's points to every side of that for sure.
So definitely don't want them coming downwind of you if you got a seat like Ray's got on his boat. I hope your tree stand seat don't squeak like the one on your boat.
Hey, it calls them in.
That's your grunt call. I seen the face.
That deer camp chili.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, I make noise out there.
That's
Right.
the real grunt call.
So does Tim. It's
We seen
proven. Tim's got a video out there with a little bit of seat action.
Yeah.
He had that grunt right here. He had that grunt right here. We didn't even blow it. And it was like a butt ventriloquist.
It sounded just like my deer call too. It was awesome.
It was great.
What's funny is 2 yearlings come in shortly after, and they winded me surprisingly.
They came in because they smelt that corn.
JPL is going to make a new grunt call called the Ray and Tim.
The butt out.
That's a good idea.
But no, I was going to jump in on that combo too that you guys were just talking about. A lot of people too I see don't do this, but some people I see just go into the woods and walk straight to their stand like they're just on a normal walk. I like to just, we all hear those deer walking through the woods and what they sound like. They're usually that and they'll stop. And that's I might take an extra 15, 20 minutes to get to my stand, but when I'm walking out there, I take my time and I listen, and I try to mimic what I hear when I listen to deer walking through the leaves. That way, if there are deer 50 or 100 yards out, 125 yards out where they can't see me, they hear that. It just sounds like another deer walking down through the woods. And then, I obviously do have to get out there earlier too, being, I'm bringing out my saddle and climbing sticks and platform every sit. So by the time I, get my sticks up a tree and platform and then get all my camera arm and everything set up, it definitely, I have to be out there early or else I'll be sitting there at 8 o'clock in the morning still setting up my camera equipment. So
Yeah,
Need-
good
need to
point,
get your
Brad.
cameraman.
That cadence that we make as we walk can really notify the deer that you're in the area. You can break that up a little bit. That certainly would help, I'm sure.
That is a huge. That's a huge point because me with my OCD, anyways. There's something about when you're walking in the woods, you just can't go in there and just start clod hopping through the woods. You cannot do it. You got to be careful what you're doing, looking and listening, like you said, as you go through the woods, because I'm bad like that. I ask my wife, oh man, she won't hunt with me because that's like, I'm like, don't watch that branch right there, or even other hunters. I'm terrible. So it's like, yeah, that's a good point. It's a big point.
walking, everything always sounds louder too when somebody's with you, though. We all know that. Remember our dads walking us through the woods as kids, and you're stepping on every branch and he's looking back at you like, you better stop stepping on that branch. And then you walk through the woods with your kids nowadays and it's like, what the heck are you doing back there?
Yeah. That was one of the first things he beat in my brain, man, was how to walk in the woods. Straight up. Dad did not play. If you didn't learn quick, your time's up. You ain't gonna get to hunt till you're older.
I got a buddy I used to hunt with. He used to always say, walk through the woods like the deer can shoot back. And you're going to realize that, hey, you know what? I need to be a little quieter when I'm getting there. If they have guns too, you'd walk differently for sure.
Yeah. And stay out of the
worst
open
part
field.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, the worst part is you go through all those steps being as quiet as possible and you get up in your tree stand and then you hit something on your tree stand like tink.
Yeah, then it just echoes into the woods. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
To happen, right?
So I got a question for you guys. What do you think about this stuff right here? When do you start using stuff like this, and do you do it just like deer calls?
Halloween
Rubber
weekend,
sense and deer sense. What are your thoughts on this stuff? I mean, from the get-go.
I'm using it right now.
Yeah.
On my mock scrapes and everything, like I say, I could care less what, I'll put out Tink 69 right now on a mock scrape. I don't care if it's the rut or not, because guess what? Like we talked about, deer are a very curious animal. Those big bucks haven't been hunted yet,
Mm-hmm.
So here's a mature buck walking through the woods right now and he smells piss in a scrape. He's going to go check it out.
Right.
He's not going to walk up and smell it and say, oh my gosh, Tink 69 and take off sprinting down through the woods and run away.
Right.
If it's later on in season and you've sat there and spooked this buck 5 times and every time he comes in and sees somebody in a stand, he smells Tink 69. Yeah, he's probably not coming in, but at this time of year, I'm just using it as a, it's a free attractant, smell.
Right.
Basically just to, we can't bait anymore, so it's like, it's something just to get the deer in front of you.
Yeah.
And I think Aren't you supposed to use synthetic products nowadays here in Michigan, or has that changed?
I'm sure it's
I don't
coming.
think so.
If it's not, I'm sure they'll change that law if they haven't yet.
If not, we just incriminated ourselves.
No,
These are synthetic. Buck baits, they're synthetic, baby.
you can use natural. They have to have certifications on it.
Yep.
I don't remember what they are, but I'm sure in order to sell it, even you have to have those certifications that it's tested and it's, with all the things out there, CWD and all that, they're on top of that pretty hardcore. So I think in order to sell it, it's got to pass certain things, and then if you can buy it, you can use it. But I think synthetic is the way that a lot of companies are going to.
Yeah, that Tink 69 right now, anyways, after a few hours, it's going to break up into ammonia anyways.
Yeah.
So.
My thought on that is I got enough deer peeing in the woods,
You
but
can use your own.
What? Yeah, well, I do. This one's great. Yep. Yeah, I got, deer peeing in the woods every day, a lot more than I'm going to be able to spill in a little 1 ounce bottle. But I do see some effectiveness. I have had really good luck. It was a brand that you recommended, Dennis, a few years ago that I doubled up that one year using.
Yep, I remember.
Specific. Yep. Yeah, and
What was the brand?
Go ahead,
Nature's
Dennis.
Best Premium Deer
There you
Scents.
go. Yep. I have, out of all the scents that I've used, I got to say, I think that I had the best results with that particular brand.
That
I either
exhilarating
don't
estrus
use anything at all,
killer.
or I'll buy that. Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's fresh right from the farm to your door. They ship
Yep.
it. It's cold when it gets to you, and it's a little fresher than the stuff you're buying at Walmart. That's probably 3-4 months
Last
old.
year's.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna say that's fine. I go to Walmart when everything goes on clearance and gets everything next year.
Right. No, I have had really good luck with that brand. That's been a fantastic. Out of all the ones I've used, that's seemed like the best draw.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's pretty good over there.
What scents is everybody like leaning towards early season? I know, Brad, you said you use the Tink 69, which is an estrus, but I mean, do you guys have a preference? Or are you just using just a regular doe urine, or what? Robert, what are you using?
Early season, I don't use anything. I spend too much time on the go moving. There's no benefit to it for me.
I was just talking about that. Yeah, I don't really use it when I'm hunting. I just mainly was talking about, like I say, still in front of my trail cameras and stuff and mock scrapes and whatnot. So, yeah, same as what Robert just said. I don't really take the time unless I'm sitting a mock scrape that bucks have consistently been checking out, every day or something early season. Then I might go sit it and refreshen it up and sit over it if a good buck's coming into it consistent. But other than that, yeah, if I'm bouncing around, I'm not taking time to put any out.
Yeah, I'm running just some. Well, when I can get my hands on it, anyways, I'm just running a regular buck urine, nothing special about it in my scrape drippers until say about pre-rut or so. Then I'll put in some kind of estrus in my scrape drippers, and that really helps out too because that thing only drips during the daytime. So it kind of does help condition your bucks to get on their feet early. Looking for that hot doe to keep showing up every day at the same spot. But yeah, other than that, I even thought about maybe one day even trying to put apple juice in the thing. I don't know. I was wondering if that would work.
You still didn't get your Tampax sponsorship yet?
No, I'm still waiting. Still waiting.
Come on.
I guess I didn't pull enough strings.
Yeah, I heard it takes a period of time before you get a sponsorship.
Oh, there we go.
It takes too long once a month.
Anyways, how about cover scents? Anybody use cover scents?
Right here. I just get right there. That's it. I was just gonna say that, Tim. I like cover scent. I spray that crap all over me. I gotta deter that butt smell,
That tampon trick does work, man. It really does. If you're in a bind and can't get those what do you call them? I can't think of it.
Wicks.
Scent wicks, yes. Yeah, if you can't get those wicks, that's the next best thing. You get more bang for your buck if you go to the dollar store and get the unscented kind.
I think
I've heard good things about Nose Jammer too.
Yep, me too.
Yep, out of all the stuff, and some of this is gimmicky, but out of all the stuff that I've heard of, that's usually what people say works best for them.
That's
Oh, Cody. You need to take a video camera
How
out to the woods with you
how
when
about
you
your
do
scent
that.
control regimen?
I'll one
What
up
do you guys
Cody
do
here.
there?
Hold on
You
just a second.
just
What?
go hunt or
what Mike say.
or
We lost
you-
him.
What was
how
that,
about
Mike?
your scent control regimen? What do you guys do that would be unique, different than what you'd expect? Obviously, everybody washes their clothes in scent-free detergent. Leave your stuff outside to air out for a couple of days ahead of time. Like everybody else. But I mean, I think I'm a little obsessive about it. We spray down heavily with Scent Killer Gold. I think that's a great brand as far as scent killer goes. And we use the ozonator to kind of disinfect some bacteria in our hunting clothes and our base layers between the hunts. There you go. That's it. Yep. I'm a big fan of that. I use that religiously. We buy a couple gallons a year. We put that in a pump sprayer, like a 1 gallon garden sprayer that's pressurized. And we saturate from top to bottom. And it may be overkill, but I don't think I've been winded in at least a couple of years by doing that. Obviously you got to hunt the wind too. If you don't hunt the wind, you're a fool. But I think that gives you the extra 15 or 20 seconds that it takes to kill that mature whitetail.
Well, I spray with multiple different stuff for cover scent, but biggest thing I have learned, being mobile, I can definitely hunt the wind.
Yeah.
Because I don't hunt a 100-acre plot where I've got 10 stands that you can change yours because of the wind. I can go into a pinch point and it's a southwest wind. Well, I got this tree I can hunt. Oh, it's a northeast. Oh, I can hunt that tree because I'm on the other side. So huge thing for me has been hunting the wind. But I do use the stuff because I feel like, well, it's helping. And I do like to hang my clothes outside and let them get aired out a little bit. And then I still use the stuff.
Right.
And all right, that's how I do it. It's worked for me the last few years.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
Firm
You guys
believer
hear me
in
okay?
scent killer. Yeah.
You can hear me all right?
Yeah.
I turned the camera on. I want to show you this. This is my homemade scent locker. So this is what I do. I bought, I don't remember what this was called. I got it off of Amazon, whatever. It's super cheap. And then I bought plastic. I can get in the hardware department at Meijer or wherever. And I lined this entire thing. And I got all my clothes in here. And you probably won't be able to see it, but up in the corner, I've got a little ozone unit.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I turn that ozone unit on, and I zip it up real good, and I just let that run for about a half hour, or if I forget, it runs all night long. But it really doesn't take that long, and that eliminates a lot of the scent on your clothes. And then I'll take some spray when I get out to the field, and I'll just kind of spray down real quick and go back out. But I built this thing probably 4 years ago. And since then, I've not been winded much at all, except for when I'm farting in my tree stand. But
Spray it on
I
your
think-
underbreakers.
yeah, if you look at those scent lockers online, you're going to be paying. I don't know what they are now. They used to be like $200 to $400 for a little tiny duffel bag. I built this thing probably with the unit included was like probably $100.
Yeah, I've got the same setup, Tim. That's brilliant.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of a DIY project, but I'm a firm believer in that. Just get your clothes in there and let that ozone just kill all that scent off, and that's worked really well for me. I think that's the biggest thing when you talk about scent, whether it's cover scent or attractants or whatever. Eliminating your own scent is the best thing you can do.
A big thing that I see that people forget about though too is, like I say, you definitely take care of your, spray down yourself and take care of your clothing like Tim's doing there. But I see a lot of people kind of forget too about like their other gear. Let's say your hunting packs, your stand and your sticks that might sit in the garage all summer and all winter, between seasons. That stuff gets, you're pulling your truck into the garage, or other scents and smells that are in your garage that now your stands and stick smell, you forget all about some stuff like that. So I like to take a tub, get a tub and fill it up with some water and put some scent killer in it, and let soak my sticks and let stuff get settled down too from sitting all year. So
Yeah, your grunt tube's got a whole lot of smell, a lot of bacteria. I pull everything out of my backpack. I wipe it all down. I cleanse everything. My phone gets wiped down. Stuff that you don't think of, like you said. Your towel that you dry off with.
Yep.
People think, oh, I'm going to go ahead and do this huge scent regiment.
So that scent locker I have, everything goes in there. All my calls, my camera gear, you name it, it goes in that scent locker.
Right.
You got to watch out for ozone.
Yep, right.
Spray your hat down good because your head sweats and your hat gets stinky and smelly from wearing a hunting hat all season. That's the main thing right there too. Make sure you spray your inside of your hat and get because all that sweat is just, you walk in on a hot, especially early season, by the time you're back in your spot, you're already all sweaty and stuff. So,
yeah,
right. You got to be careful with ozone though. It is a chemical. It's a cancer-producing chemical, so you want to make sure you're not running that in your bedroom overnight. The other thing too is I've noticed that the elastic, anything rubber, over time, if you use too much ozone, it'll deteriorate the elastic in your underwear or your boots. So that's one of those things you kind of tread lightly with.
Yeah, so, it doesn't take long. You don't have to run it very long.
Right.
Like 10, half hours probably tops.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When I have to leave like work and go hunting, I've got a tote that I keep a lot of my hunting clothes into. But I also have scent wicks, not wicks, but a scent medallion or whatever, and I throw that in there. And trust me, my clothes stink, but it smells like that cover scent or whatever. And I'm changing when I get in the parking lot, whatnot. But that seems to do well for me too. I don't have that cool thing that Tim's got going on there, but I got other stuff.
Yeah. Charcoal from a fireplace works pretty good too.
I've heard that.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. The activated charcoal from your fireplace will do a great job of killing scent.
Yep.
We got any more questions over there, Tim?
No, I don't see any more questions.
Hey guys,
that we haven't already covered.
I got to check out. They're locking up on me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bounce here.
All right.
Thanks for inviting me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
thanks for joining in, Mike.
Yeah, you got it. I'll talk to you soon. They're just going to lock me. They're going to lock me in if I don't roll here pretty quick. So.
Well, take care, buddy. It was nice to meet you.
Yes, sir. You too. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the invite.
Hey, no problem, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh.
I was going to ask a question. Is anybody going out for the youth hunt this weekend?
Don't know any youth.
Or going out or
nobody on my end.
My kids don't enjoy hunting. They like fishing, but they don't like hunting. So I'll be working.
I was gonna say I was gonna try to take somebody out. Last couple of years, I've tried to take some kids out, that don't have anybody to take them out. So I was actually about to make a post. I had somebody lined up to go, and then they decided that they didn't want to try to hunt this weekend. So now it's Thursday night before youth hunt, and I'm like, well, I'd like to take somebody out Saturday morning or Saturday night. So try to get a kid lined up who, again, somebody, either just doesn't, their parents don't hunt, but their kid wants to try or something, and try to get some kids out in the woods. So
that's awesome, Brad.
Where's that? Where can they find that post at? Are you going to put that up on the Wild Game Pursuit or?
I was just going to post it on my personal page, or if anybody's watching that is interested, or, like I say, I live in Newaygo County. So, within an hour, or if you're willing to drive, obviously, and have somebody that's interested, I'd, like I say, be willing to take a kid out, and, as long as they got their hunt license and everything, and, obviously have shot a, either I got a crossbow they could use, or if somebody's got a youth rifle or something that they could use. This is obviously the last season that kids are allowed to shoot a buck during the youth hunt. So starting next year, those only. So
Yeah, I was hoping to get my buddy out for the Liberty hunt, but he hasn't called me back. I feel bad for him. He just lost his mom recently, and it's hard for him to get his head together enough to go do this. Which I can't say I blame him, but hopefully he changes his mind. But he's only got a hot minute to do it. I was going to bug him one more time. I'm supposed to be heading out to go fishing out to Hillsdale County this weekend, but if he does get in contact with me, I'm definitely going to take time out to do that for him, get him out there. He had a stroke a couple of years ago, so he's barely got the use of his left side to boot on top of everything else he's going through.
Sucks.
Yeah, he's younger than I am. I think like at least I want to say 6 or 7 years younger than me. That's rough.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, Brad, what you're doing, man. I might do something like that next year because you know what? I don't really have that opportunity, so it would be really cool to try to help somebody out, like that and be like, I can get you on a deal with something.
Yep. Say it's just it's not like I'm asking to get paid or anything like that. It's just
No.
like get a kid out in the woods. I have just as much fun doing it. I've taken a couple kids, like I say, the last couple years. One year I took a kid out, and man, we had a nice 8-point come in to 10, 15 yards, and the kid froze up. I'm like, shoot him, and he's just like, he froze up, and the buck's just standing there staring at us, and he turned and bounded off. And then last year, I actually had a really cool experience with a buddy's kid. I took him out. He wanted to go, and we took him out, and such a cool hunt. I was out there, had my cameras and everything, and it was the Sunday of the youth hunt. It was supposed to thunderstorm all morning last year, Sunday of youth hunt, and I was like, yeah, we'll wait and see what the evening does. Of course, the weather was wrong, like always, and ended up not raining. Of course, my trail camera shows a couple nice bucks standing there. And like I say, out on the public, and we went out there in the evening hunt. Same thing. There were some more storms rolling in, and I look over at him. Like I say, I think he was like 10 or 12, and you could hear the thunder coming, and I look at my radar, and it's just a wall of storms coming in, and I'm like, hey man, you want to get out of here? Like we're about to get soaked. And he's like, well, I think we'll give it a little bit longer. A kid, I'm thinking, wow, dude, that's awesome that I'm like, all right, man. I put my cameras away because I didn't want to ruin my cameras. And we're just sitting on the ground up against a tree. And I'm thinking, dude, it's just downpouring. It starts thundering and lightning. And I'm like, we're not going to see any deer. We're getting soaked. Sure enough, I look up, and here comes those same 2 bucks that came in the morning. And they come out to like 40 yards broadside. And he just couldn't find him in the scope. That's obviously one of the toughest things for kids is to locate a deer in the scope, And he sat there and just couldn't find him in the scope, and finally they bounded off. But I just thought it was so cool that he wanted to stick it out, even though it was, thundering and lightning, and we're getting downpoured on. And he, like I say, if it was me, I would have been like, yeah, we're out of here. But he wanted to stick it out, and sure enough, we actually had an opportunity at those same bucks that came in the morning. So
Nice.
Yeah, kid's got the eye of the tiger.
yeah,
Yep.
Dedicated. So, is anybody going to do the early antlerless hunt the week after?
Nope. This will be my first year not doing that in probably 5 years. My buddy Chad said, "Are we going hunting?" And I said, "Not this guy." I said, "I'm not doing it this year. It's not lack of motivation or anything. It's just it's warm. A lot of times they're with the little ones, and I'm like, and I must be getting softer because I'm like, I know I'll get them. I'll get them later in the season, so I don't need venison that bad yet. So I'm not doing it. I'm not participating in it this year."
I like to go. I do more watching than I ever do shooting because most of the time it is they come in with the little ones still got spots and you see them suckling on mama. And I just want to give them a chance to get the last bit of stuff that they need to get through the winter. So if I see a real big girl and she's all by herself and she's about to start walking away and I don't see anything else, she's getting it. But that don't happen too often.
Yeah.
Not for me, basically.
Yeah, I was
How about
thinking
you,
about
Robert?
going out, but we'll
Nope,
see.
it's too warm for me.
Yeah. That's it for me. The heat, I can't do it, man. I'm a roofer. Oh, imagine that. I can't stand the heat, especially when I'm sweating in the woods.
Yeah. I cannot see that for the life of me. I got to get glasses.
Best of luck, Cody.
Cody's going out. He was just saying he won't shoot a doe with fawns, period, no matter how
No.
big it is.
Yeah, he's cool, man. That guy's cool.
See, if I go out and see a mature doe, I'll take a mature doe just for the fact that I am starting to run a little bit low on venison. I'm down to pretty much just burger. Pretty much all my venison steaks are gone from last year. So go out and, like I say, it's kind of a half, like Dennis was saying, scouting, just watching to see what deer are in the area without spooking them. I'm not going to push right into a spot where I'm in the middle of them, but in a spot where it's a good vantage point and I know some does cruise through to just try to, maybe put eyes on some bucks for a couple weeks later. And then at the same time, if a nice mature doe walks by, try to get a shot. And then obviously I'm pretty sure that they made it too, where this year
Public land.
you're allowed to hunt public land with a rifle too.
Never was able to do that in the past, and now they made her. And the year I decide not to,
Yeah.
making up public land.
Which, if I go out there, I'm not taking the rifle out. I'm going out there too. Another thing that I do like about it,
I'm gonna bow hunt them.
not only do I want to notch it, put some meat in the freezer, but at the same time, I tell you what, when you have a chance to watch an arrow go through a mature doe, and get that first adrenaline out of your system, it just builds up your confidence too, to watch an arrow, go through a deer and say, man, I made a good shot, and then that way, hopefully early season when that buck walks out, you've already said, man, I smoked that doe, and made a good shot, and it just
Yep.
Yeah.
Be out fishing. Too warm for me. Right on.
Fish are piled up in the rivers right now for salmon.
Yeah. I've been seeing that a lot lately.
Well, I retired the boat until November when I go walleye fishing again.
November and fishing? Really?
I did it last year and got a bunch, man.
I don't know if I could do that, man. That's November.
Well, that does depend if I do well during deer season. All right, guys, I think I'm about ready to take off.
All right.
I think we covered a lot of good stuff.
I was going to say, you guys want to wrap it up?
Anything else, Robert, Brad, anything?
We covered a lot. Like I say, we definitely touched on a lot of different things, so.
Yeah, just good luck, everybody. 19 days.
Yep, 19 days.
Get out and shoot those bows.
Yeah, you guys don't forget to check out Full Draw Land Management on Facebook. It's a pretty good thing they got going on over there. And don't forget to check out Brad Atwood at Wild Game Pursuit. You're on all the social media platforms, aren't you?
Yep. We got TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. And
I think I seen you got part of your team was hunting somewhere just recently, weren't they?
yep, some of my guys went down to Nebraska.
Yeah.
Non-resident Nebraska tags are down there hunting public land in Nebraska. Yep. Our guys are already at it this year. Been getting some nice ones with the camera down there and stuff. So
Nice.
That's great. Well, yeah, and for you guys watching at home, don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
You see guys like me.
Thanks.
Yeah. And don't forget that some of the best memories in the world are made outside. So get out there. Clock's ticking.
Yeah.
19 days, y'all.
best of luck to all the youth hunters. Bring on the pictures, and we want to see everything because we're going to be going crazy this weekend. I'm at a horse show all weekend. But I'll be posting and helping, and we can't wait to see everything. So best of luck, Brad, out there, Doe, your early doe. And I will go keep in contact with you, Brad, about the camera issue. So it's been fun, y'all.
Yeah. Thanks, Robert, for joining us again tonight, too. So we're looking forward to Robert sending in some pics of some nice northern Michigan bucks.
He gets them. The big ones.
Don't forget to check out our youth,
I'm gonna go
youth
check
hunting
cameras
contest.
this weekend, so we'll see.
Nice. Well, good luck there, Robert.
Get down.
Oh.
Same to you.
All right, buddy.
Y'all have a good one.
Peace out, fellas.